Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Life Chat with Viv and Vil. I know it's been a long time since we have recorded something, and Bill and I, along with everyone else, I know you guys have been really busy. And Bill and I apologize for not being on for a while. We did mention earlier this year that we're going to do it every 2 weeks, and I know we haven't. I don't remember if you remember, Vilma, the last time we recorded, but it's been a
I know
while.
it's been a while. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So we apologize sincerely, and for those fans or followers or whatever you may want to call yourself, we appreciate you still being with us and still want to hear us and still listening to us each and every time that we do put something out. We certainly really do appreciate that. There's been a lot of things going on, especially, I don't know about in your life, Vilma, but in mine, I had a
Yeah.
son graduated from high school,
Woo!
distinguished honors. So I'm very,
Congratulations.
thank you, and very happy about that and been busy with that and different things that's going on. So what's going on with you?
Okay, so just one thing to interject. What we have a new website, not website, Facebook page, and it's called The Real Viv and Vil. And as we have been saying before, that our Facebook page was taken over, and this was one of the reasons why we were not, continuing with the podcast. But we are back. We have a new Facebook page. It's called The Real Viv and Vil. So, although we're going to have this posted on YouTube, we are also going to post it on our new Facebook page. So, I just wanted to say that. What's new with me? Well, I have been working hard at school. Those of you may be familiar with me changing my my career basically to education. And I thought I was going to have the entire summer off. Oh, wow. Was I mistaken? No,
Wow.
I didn't. So I still have to work during the summer because I'm in an administrative position
Mhm.
and we don't really get vacation. We are not off for the entire summer. But the great thing about it is that I will be able to work some days from home, which I am grateful for because the price of gas. Do you find that, Vivian? Oh my.
Yes, I just went to fill my tank. Well, I had half a tank before I went and got gas, and it was like over $50. And I don't put regular in my car, but I was like, oh my God, the five something for gas. I'm like, I remember I remember when I was living in New York, I was arguing when gas was like $1.50. I wish I had $1.50 today.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, you know.
Uh-huh.
So Vilma, are you one of those people who are blaming the president for the gas, or are you one of those people who basically realizing that the war is the cause of this gas price, or are you one of those people who are thinking it's the president's fault? Which one are you?
No, I just think it's life. And but I just don't like driving because for go to work it's 40 minutes a day. And of course I don't use the regular gas either. Not
Mhm.
that I really want to, but sometimes you buy a car and you think, oh, you love the car, but you don't think about that this kind of car are gonna need, special gas. So that's what I'm falling in right now. But I wouldn't give it up for anything. But no, I'm not blaming the president at all because it's something that is happening worldwide, and I really do think it's because of the war. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. And I always seen these little sticker. I don't know if you see it at your pump or whatever. Those little stickers that saying if you what it says something about don't blame anyone but blame Biden is the cause of this price. You ever seen those little stickers at the
No.
pump? I've seen
Oh
them all
my.
over in in Newark, where I live in Bear, Delaware. It's all over pointing to it. This is Biden's fault. I see certain
Oh,
places they're trying to
wow.
take them down, but it's been all over Newark that I've been to about 5 different gas stations within a couple of months, and I've seen those little stickers. I don't know if you audience have seen them, but I've seen them a lot. You can comment at the bottom if you've seen them. But I am in agreement with you that it's because of the wars going on, and not only the war, but with inflation, it's throughout the entire world. So if you want to
Mhm.
blame him for one section, you trying to blame him for the entire world also. I don't know
You
what
know
people
what,
think.
Vivian, I don't give any man on earth such powers. I am sorry.
about.
There is no way I'm gonna credit him with that amount of power that
I
he
like
could
that.
create
Yeah,
this to happen.
exactly.
I know my God has most have all power,
Mhm.
and no, no, no. He may have contributed, but I would never say blame him for what is happening. He's not God. Wow. No, no, forget it. I ain't giving him, no man, all that credit.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
I always see them, and I'm like, wow, these people. That's interesting. They go around from pump to pump and
To
put
put
these
it on.
stickers
But
on.
you know something, we always try to find somebody to blame for
Mhm.
something. Sometimes we blame the devil when poor devil is, you know, not to be blamed. But I do think the war has a lot to do with it, and the sanctions by various countries on Russia,
Mhm.
which is creating a shortage because Russia, I think, was one of the larger. I won't know. Won't say it's the largest, but it was one of the larger supplier of gas to many countries.
That's right.
So with them being sanctioned and people not getting their gas, it did create a shortage, kind of artificial shortage on the market.
Right. Right. And definitely. And along with that, we we look at things and we see things happening in our economy, and we see things happen around the world,
Mhm.
and reference to what you just said about people blaming the devil. We sometimes don't want to take responsibility for the things that we have done that
Mhm.
may be the cause and effect of what we're experiencing or the things that we're going through. And that's something that we really do need to take account of, because
Mhm.
we don't want accountability. We don't want to be the one that say, okay, I was wrong, let's make it right. And a lot of times we forget, we totally forget that we are to blame too. So we have to find someone to make ourselves feel better, and that's
Yeah.
just not the way it is, and that's not the way it should be, a matter of
Mhm.
fact.
Mhm. Absolutely, I agree with you. But not only just the economy and inflation, but something, I would not want to be buying a house at this time.
Mm-mm.
I would not want to be buying a house because of the economy and inflation. And how do you know about creating this sense of having more demand than you have the ability to fulfill? For example, with the housing market, I recognize that there are a lot of people who need house, right? That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But there are not as many homes on the market. So the few homes that are there on the market, the prices have gone sky high.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I don't know how true it is, people will offer you,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe like 5 or 10% more than your asking price,
Mm-hmm.
so that they get the house that they want.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and some people have offer above like 50,000 above asking price. And that's a lot, because
Mhm.
when you figure it out at the end, when you're gonna sell the house, when the market becomes stable, I don't know what they're going to do. And sometimes when you do the appraisal and the appraisal come in, I guess they have the money to cover it, because sometimes the bank won't cover it to that particular extent,
Mhm,
because whatever
mhm.
the house's value is what the house value. But the
Mhm.
interest rate is going back up. So let's see what will happen because of the fact that the interest rate just went up, I heard a couple of days ago. So let's see where the market is going to turn from there. Because when it's down low, that's why sometimes you see we have a demand. People start buying homes because the interest rate is low. We see different things that's happened.
Right.
So, and even with the homes, prices of homes going up, the prices of goods in the supermarket is ridiculous. I think
Mhm.
people just putting things up. I don't know about you guys, but I think people just putting things up sometimes just to put it up.
To blame the economy, right?
Exactly. Because I had a person who used to do my hair.
Your hair look nice, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you. You need to be redone, but thank you. We
I
have
like
the same hair person. Anyway, I had a person who did my crochet, and she doubled the price for crocheting for my hair. Doubled. And she doesn't buy the hair to put in extensions. I pay for the hair, I pay for the products, but some clients she gets that for them. But I'm paying the same price as a person who had to buy all those things. She
no,
doubled the
stop
price.
buying it.
He doesn't, she says, well, everything went up. That doesn't mean your price is supposed to go double.
Oh my.
Anyway, so
That's the cost of beauty.
yes, and we try to be beautiful.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so and you see bread, you see milk, you see supermarket prices is just crazy.
Hmm. But I also, going back to houses, I hear that there are some people, investors, because they have the money, they buy the houses and then they rent it out to get money. But you know what I think is going to happen, and I think it happened in May, I think 2008, where you have that high demand, the high prices go up, and then the market, in the end, you have people who cannot pay their mortgage anymore because they bought at such a high price, and the mortgage, the rate is high, and then you have a number of homes where they have to foreclose on.
And that's the sad part about it. Some people buy above and beyond and they can't afford it, and
Mhm.
then they end up losing it all. But I know the government put a lot of things in place that we won't have that happen again. I don't know if they have changed the laws, but I know Obama put a lot of things in place that we would not go through that again.
Mhm.
That process that we had in 20, what was it 20, in 2008,
2008.
right,
Yes.
2008. So
Mhm.
I don't know if they've changed the laws or not, haven't checked it, but I know he did put a lot of things in place to prevent us going through that again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Which was needed, but still, if you look at what is happening, that people are losing their jobs. So they qualified and they could have done it at the time, but I don't know how to think, because they say you have jobs out there, people not applying. And why aren't we having applications? I think for the medical field, I can speak to that. People are tired, they are burnt out,
Mhm.
and they are paid at a higher price, a higher salary. When they do like travel nurse, they have no commitment. They want to
Mhm.
stay home with their families, so
Mhm.
they will do a stint. They don't want anything full time.
Mhm. And I think that's what it is. A lot of people thinking people just want to stay home, collect the check, and I don't think that's what it is at all. In reference to what you're saying, the nurses economy, because right now people can do Lyft. There's so many things they can do, stay home and make money. They're doing Lyft, they're doing Amazon, they're doing DoorDash, and they
Mhm.
might be making $20 an hour doing DoorDash, but then the money will go up higher. That's what I've been told by some people with Lyft and so forth. Like they can pick and choose what they want, and they can make $1,000 a week just doing those regular jobs, just driving and doing those different things,
Mhm.
than sitting at a 9 to 5 where they have to clock in and clock out
Mhm.
when they're making $15 an hour or $11 an hour, and they can make a lot more doing those particular jobs. Like you said, they can set their hours, they can work when they want, they don't have to work whenever they don't want to do. So because of COVID, it's giving people a lot of freedom and a lot of alternative way of working and making money.
Mhm,
So people are taking advantage. That's what I
mhm,
think. They're taking
mhm,
advantage of those areas now, that instead of the regular 9 to 5 clocking and working whenever they're telling them to work. They don't want to do
mhm,
that anymore. They want to set
mhm,
their own schedules and do what they want to do when they want to do it. That's
mhm,
what I feel.
mhm. But and in addition to that, I also think that it's a new reality of
Hmm.
how fragile life is.
Hmm.
We lost over 1 million people from COVID.
Hmm.
And people are beginning to realize the times that they spend working out of the
Right.
home wasn't with their, calling their parents, their siblings, their loved ones.
Hmm.
And I think there genuinely are some people who have a new realization of life, and they decide, you know what, I'm not going to go out there and do that anymore. I'm going to pay more attention to my family member. And I think that also plays a part in it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
things. And
Wow.
and I think a lot of people are just thinking people are being lazy, but they're not. They're just thinking of
No,
alternative ways of making money, and they're doing life.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But having said all that we have said, let's just put a spin on this to our listeners, that we are still grateful that, as bad as things are, that we are living in a country where we are not starving, most people. And I still go to the gas station and I still can afford to buy the gas. I complain about the price, but I can still buy gas.
Hmm.
I am not taking public transportation. I can still put
And there's
food.
nothing wrong with that because there's
Right.
situation circumstances you have to take.
Absolutely. And because I was going to say, I could probably say, I'm not going to drive, let's take public transportation. I choose to still, buy the gas. I can go to the supermarket and I can still do my grocery shopping and put food on my table. So with all that is happening, I'm still grateful that God is still in the mix. He's still in the business. And by now our audience know that we are both Christians, and not just by saying it, but but by living it. And I know you as well, Vivian, that you are grateful and recognize that God is, sustaining us and making things, making it affordable for us to be able to do the things that we do.
And that's right.
Yeah.
So, what about the stuff that's been going on in the news lately?
One thing that I know that is very in our face kind of thing is the the January 6th insurrection. That's
Hmm.
what do you call it? Yeah, yeah, and that has been going on, and my oh my, what a thing.
It's funny. I was at a graduation party because this is graduation season, and
Mhm,
a couple of friends of ours were talking, and they were saying they would go to Fox News and then they would go to CNN and watch what two are doing, and it's like one will be all the way this way, one will be all the way that way, and then
mhm,
they do that just to compare, just to sometimes to get a laugh to see what they're doing, because it will be so far one way and so far the other way, and you can just tell the biases that both has, or you can
mhm,
tell where they're leading to. No, but there, yeah, you're right. There's so much things that's going on. We have, you know, the interviews that's going on right now. What's your thoughts
mhm.
concerning what's going on pertaining to the interviews of the January 6th insurrection?
Okay, what I do know about it is that I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot. And I know today, Thursday, yes, in case you're going to be seeing this after, but at the time now that we are recording on the 16th, Thursday the 16th, the January 6th committee is now holding its third hearing. And I listened to the first one. The second one um, was at a time when I was unable to listen in. But the first one was an eye opener for me. I couldn't believe the things that were happening. And I'm not going to say I don't know the whole truth behind it.
Mhm.
And but I don't think they would deliberately lie like that before the world,
Mhm.
you know, or manipulate things for it to look a certain way. And I know they can put tapes together and come up with something else or the person's voice. I know all of that. I'm educated enough to know that those things can happen, but I doubt it is happening. And it is just amazing when they said so many people told President Trump that the election wasn't rigged, they couldn't find anything, and he insisted on doing that. And before you guys email Viv and Vil or write your comment on Viv and Vil, I am not taking part with any party. None. I'm just saying, regardless of who it was amazing that one person would go to such length to prove or to be president.
Yeah, the one that got me is I don't remember if it was Barr who was talking, and he was saying Barr. I don't remember who was talking at the time, but he was saying that they called him in to do interviews, and I don't think it was Barr. I think it was the one before that. I don't remember if his name was Johnson. Don't remember, but he was saying that he looked at, I think it was a former attorney general, and he was looking at some recording that were talking about how they saw briefcase being pulled out. They, started showing briefcase full of voting after the whole voting thing was closed. And I was wondering, I was like, wow, that's interesting that they really do that, pull out briefcase after the fact. And
Mm-hmm.
he was saying, when if you look at the entire tape, Giuliani was showing only a tidbit of the tape, the video. And it
Mm-hmm.
was showing, yes, the briefcase was being pulled out, but if you look at the whole thing, that's just the process of what they normally typically do.
Mm-hmm.
And that it also is that they thought they were finished, but they weren't finished. They were pulling out the process, still pulling the suitcases the way that they normally do, and just that was just what they were doing. When you look at the entirety of the video, there was
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong. I was like, oh wow. But the way that they were saying it. And then he was also saying that they were stating that there were over 8,000 people who died. They used them as voters. And they were talking about how that he showed in court the list. He had a paper in his hand and just saying, what about these 8,000 people that died? And then the former attorney general, he was like, there was not even 800 or 80 people who died that was on any list, or eight, he said, a matter of fact. And I was like, wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting also, but it's just interesting. Yeah, like, I agree with you. It's just interesting that someone would go to that length. And the funny thing that I find, Vilma, is that people still, hundreds of people still believe that the election was stolen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I one thing that came to mind as I watched when they were showing the people breaking down the door and the window and stuff like that. And I what came to mind was people of certain religion, and they are so gung ho in their belief of the religion that they will go and they will do suicide, because of their faith and because of what they believe. They will blow themselves up so that they can blow up other people. And I
Mhm.
was like, I love life too much, honey. You can't pay me enough for me to do something like that. But that's their belief. And, I wish Christians on a whole could take that belief to that level where they believe so much in God and what He's able to do and what He has done. Take it to that level that they would be willing to do anything for His name's sake.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And along with that, it's not only that, is I'm seeing also, I don't know if you're seeing this, but I'm seeing a lot of Christians who are fighting and saying stuff on social media that we're supposed to show the love of Christ. We're the only Christ that people are going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that you showing a certain side of yourself that is not good, and then you want to turn around and minister to someone, how do you feel that person's going to receive you? You can't
Mm-hmm.
come off a certain way and then be another way and thinking that people are going to receive you at the end of the day. No, you have to
Mm-hmm.
think about think about your actions and think about the consequences or the things that might happen after the fact. Because you
Mm-hmm.
might be sitting there typing, or you might be sitting there saying all this stuff, but then you go, "Oh, I love you and Jesus love you too." They're not going to believe you. Your mouth is saying one thing, but then your actions is saying something else. They're not going to believe you. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to figure out, how are you representing yourself? How are you representing the gospel? How are you representing the kingdom? What are you doing? How are you being read by men?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
something that we really need to take into consideration. And
Mm-hmm.
it's something that we have to live accordingly to saying that, hey, this is how I want to live my life. This is how I'm going to be a representer of God on
Mm-hmm.
this earth. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
people don't realize, that they're thinking they're just talking and they're voicing whatever they want to voice, but they have to look at what the end result is going to be. And that's something important that they need to take a look at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, but if we relate it to a Christian perspective as well, that as Christians sometimes we do allow other people to pressure us into doing something that is wrong, and again, I'll just put a disclaimer out there. I am not going to argue this, and sorry if you believe that he wasn't President Trump wasn't pressuring to do something that was wrong, because he legitimately win. But I want to apply this to Christians on a whole, that if you know what is right, you cannot allow people to pressure you into doing something that is wrong, because in the end, you are the one that is doing the thing that is wrong. And what does God say about that? So we cannot allow ourselves to be walking with the wrong people, to be associating with wrong things, so that it colors our vision, it colors our thought of what is it that God wants me to do. And yes, God wants us to stand for the truth. Yes, God wants us to treat each other well and be kind and be compassionate and to show His love. But at the same time, a number of us at times allow people to take us down the wrong track. We have to be careful. We
Yeah.
have to be careful of who we listen to.
Mhm.
And it starts as a thought.
Mhm.
It starts as a thought. And then before we know it, it becomes something bigger. And then it's acted out.
Mhm.
So this just really, everything that I look at, I see a lesson in it of Christianity and God and what He wants. Everything that is going on, I learned something from it. It's a lesson that I can learn from it.
Definitely. And we're going to be the one who give an account. It's not what my pastor said, or not what
Absolutely.
my friend said,
Mm-hmm.
or not what my parents said, or whomever it may be, my girlfriend said. it's what you said. We have to give an account of our words, you know, and those are the things that we have to take a look at, and those are the things we have to consider. You know, you are the one who will stand before the Father on that day of judgment, and you're the one
Absolutely.
who will have to be do what He called you to do. You know, I
Absolutely.
have to do what He called me to do. You, Vilma, doing what God called you to do.
Mhm,
You know, you and I may have totally different callings, but we're
mhm.
on this podcast together. But you know, God has a way of putting whoever He wants together. You
Mhm,
know, iron sharpens iron, but also we also first of all look at what God says. That's the most important thing. What is
mhm.
He directing you to go and directing me to go? Where is He directing us?
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's like your child. You know, like when your children go out there and you may get a call, or I'm not saying you in particular, Vivian, or me, but the parent may get a call. Oh, your child is locked up. You have to come bail them, or your child, and you're like, what? They may have followed somebody in the mall, and their friend will say, I dare you to steal this. I dare you to walk out of the store with this. And they take those dares, DARES, and they do these things, or they do what their peers may do, especially when they get to a certain age where peer matters, and do it and then end up in trouble, and they're not smart enough to know to know how to get out of the trouble, so their friends will escape and they get caught because what, they're not street smart.
And sometimes
Yeah.
you know God is really talking, but there are you willing to listen?
Mm.
God is leading and directing, but are you willing to listen? Some people are hard headed,
Mhm.
hard
Mhm.
headed. They want to do what they want to do.
Absolutely. So I know another thing that is in the news, but we can tell our listeners is all this killing and shooting. But we are going to be covering that in our next podcast. So I want you to come back. I want you to listen, and you'll get a broader perspective on what we have coming up in the podcast that comes after this one. So we're not going to talk about this. We want it to be new, and we just wanted to reconnect. We want to say we are back. Are we?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
remember, it's every 2 weeks. We will try to definitely stand by that. We took a little break. I guess we want to say we took a break. So we'll be on every 2 weeks from now on and get the information out because we're doing life together. Like we said, we're going to do life together. So you heard about all the things that's been on our hearts. You heard what we've been up to for the last couple of months.
Mm.
Busy, and I know you guys have been busy too. So hey, give us a message and tell us what you've been up to. We'd greatly love to hear from you guys.
Yes.
And if you want to hear a show that we haven't been doing, or you think about, hey, it'd be great for them to do this particular show, let us know, hit us up. So if you don't have anything else, Wilma,
No, I'm just happy to be back, and you know, trying not to get too overwhelmed as I do life, because we want to do life with you all. We want to talk about life with you all. We don't want to keep it to ourselves, right?
exactly, without
Yes.
want
Yes.
to see what's going on and see what you have to say and hear us talk.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Let's see. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. This was another episode of Life Chart with Viv and Vil. Goodbye.
Goodbye.